What's more on that? Keep reading.
Let this mind be in you,
Let this mind, let this spirit be in you. Read on.
which was also in Hamashiach Yahushua.
Hey, Hamashiach Yahushua, he was humble, man. Right? He became obedient to the cross. Right? He came back in the flesh, man. Right? And he condemned sin in the flesh. And that was a humble thing for the Lord to do. Right? The Lord could have destroyed them damn Romans, those legions, man. Right? And took them out of the way. But he said, you know what? I got to go through this. This is my cup. This is my portion to die for the nation of Israel. Right? But he had the power to destroy those Roman armies. But he didn't do it out of respect for the Lord. And he became obedient to the cross, man. Right?
Right. Bring out
There's more on that.
yeah. It's like go ahead.
Who, being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God,
See that?
but made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men.
You see that? So he humbled down, man. He made himself in the likeness of men, right? He took on the form of a servant. Again, the Lord, he's all powerful, man. Right? He's the son of Yahweh. Right? So he had the power in the heavens and the earth to do whatever he wanted to do. Again, he could have destroyed those Roman armies. He could have destroyed those Israelites that delivered them up. He could have did all those different things. But he became obedient to the cross. Right? Which was humility. Right?
All right. Go to Sirach chapter 10, verse 7.
Book of Sirach 10, verse 7. Pride is hateful before God and man.
Hey, Malachi brought out early 8. You kind of hate a brother for that, man. Not hate him, in your heart, and you detest him and you abhor him, but you hate that spirit's on him, man.
You don't want him to be around you.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that brother. Right? Even in the world, the brother that think he know everything. Brother, you don't know, brother. Why you trying to explain it to the brother? And he, no. Well, the brother, look, you going off, man. Right? You trying to tell him that the sky is blue. He said, look, no, it's green right now. It's green. Well, hold on, brother. You could clearly see that the sky is blue, but he trying to argue you up and down that it's green. Right? Nobody wants to be around a man like that. That's prideful. Okay?
20 and 5. Sirach chapter 20, verse 5.
And here's the book of Sirach 20 and 5. Bring it out. There is one that keepeth silence and is found wise, and another by much babbling becometh hateful.
Hey, you better off just keeping your mouth shut, like it's in Sirach 4 and 15, if I'm not mistaken. One more in Matthew chapter 8, verse 9.
It's the book of Matthew chapter 8 and verse 9. For I am a man under authority.
This is that centurion. He's speaking to Yahweh Shai. He said, Lord, can you come heal somebody? He said, what?
For I am a man under authority,
right?
Having soldiers under me. And I say to this man, go, and he goeth.
He said, go, and he goeth. Likewise, when you read in Judas, and it's like in the book of Maccabees. Hey, Maccabees, hey, go do this, and they go do it. Don't do this, and they don't do it. Right? But the times that they don't abide by the order, the water, and all hell break loose. Go ahead.
And to another come, and he cometh.
See and that? Oh, it's like, go ahead.
No. And to my servant, do this, and he doeth it.
Right. Now, the Lord's not going to come down at every moment in every camp and say, look, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. The Lord's not, he's not doing that. You got to understand the Lord already predestined things from the very beginning. So if this camp is established, then this is going to be X, Y, and Z. It goes with every camp. Every camp, there's some type of structure, order, or whatever, right? You can't just do whatever you want. You can think of any camp, best believe they're going to have at least some type of order, rank, and structure. If you do contrary, you out of there. Nobody's going to want to be around you.
I got a precept. Give me 1 Ezra chapter 4, verse 1. Likewise with the king, man. You got to abide by the king's orders, rules, and regulations, man.
This is the book of First Ezra 4 and 1. Then the second that had spoken of the strength of the king began to say, O ye men, do not men excel in strength that bear rule over the sea and land and all things in them?
Right, so it say men bear rule over the sea, the land, and all things that consist therein. Read on.
But yet the king is more mighty.
The king is more mighty. Read on.
For he is Lord of all these things, and hath dominion over them. And whatsoever he commandeth them, they do.
Right, so they don't buck up against the king's orders. Right, whatsoever he commandeth them to do, they do it. They say, you know what? Hey, thy will be done. Right, let's go handle this. Read on.
If he bid them make war, the one against the other, they do it.
It said, hey, if he bid them to make war, hey, look, man, they gird up their sword, right? They put on their breastplate, they put on their helmet, they put on all their armory, and they go to war. Read on.
If he send them out against the enemies, they go and break down mountains, walls, and towers.
Right?
They slay and are slain.
It said they slay and are slain. Read on.
And transgress not the king's commandment.
The what?
Transgress not the king's commandment.
Right, so kings send out commandments, man. And who are you to buck up against that and say, look, I'm not doing that? Well, they're going to put you out of there, man. You might get put to death for bucking up the commandment of the king. Right, read on.
If they get the victory, they bring all to the king, as well the spoil, as all things else. Likewise, for those that are not no soldiers, and have not to do with wars, but use husbandry.
Right, regular men, right? Regular household men. Read on.
When they have reaped again that which they had sown, they bring it to the king.
They bring it to the what?
They bring it to the king.
They said they bring it to the king. Right, so these men labor, they work hard, and all they labors, they pretty much bring it to the king. Read on.
And compel one another to pay tribute unto the king.
They got to pay taxes to that king, man. Right, now these men can say, look, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing the damn thing. Right, he wasn't there when I was reaping down the fields. No, these men don't buck up. They say, you know what? He's the king. I got to respect him. I got to reverence the priest of the Lord. So I'm going to pay tribute to him. I'm going to give him my taxes. You got it, brother.
And yet,
That's more on that.
and yet, he is but one man. If he command to kill, they kill. If he command to spare, they spare. If he command to smite, they smite.
So these men do not buck up against the king's commandment. That's the point. These men don't become rebellious to the king. Read on.
If he command to make desolate, they make desolate. If he command to build, they build.
Right?
If he command to cut down, they cut down. If he command to plant, they plant. So all his people as his armies obey him.
They do what?
So all his people and his armies obey him.
They obey him. Right? They listen to the king. Read on.
Furthermore, he lieth down, he eateth and he drinketh, and taketh his rest.
Right? That's pretty much it on that. Keep reading. There's more on that. You said what, King?
Ezra 7 to 26.
First Esdras? Salakia, can you
7:26. This is the book of Ezra 7 and 26. And whosoever will not do the law of thy God and the law of the king, let judgment be executed speedily upon him, whether it be unto death or to banishment or to confiscation of the goods or to imprisonment. Blessed be the Lord God of our fathers, which have put such a thing as this in the king's heart, to beautify the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem.
That's right. I had a preset. You got it. Get the book of Deuteronomy 33, verse 4.
This is the book of Deuteronomy 33 and verse 4. Moses commanded us a law, even the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob.
All right, read.
And he was king in Jeshurun.
Right, so, hey, Moses was king, man. Moses was king of Israel. Right, read.
When the heads of the people and the tribes of Israel were gathered together.
It's like you see that. So, hey, Moses was a king. Now go to Numbers 12 and 3. It's the attributes of a king, man.
Numbers 12 and 3. Now the man Moses was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth.
But he was also humble. Like we read in Galatians 6 and 3, man. He didn't look at himself to be anything, although he was a king. Right, because the Lord set that up. Get Matthew 20 and verse 25. You never know a brother Lot, man. His lot might not be the rule on this side because he go set him up over
damn 100 cities in the kingdom because he submitted himself to the leadership that he had on earth. And the Lord said, that's a meek brother. So in the wilderness, he gonna say, look, you will be over these 10,000 men. You in 144,000. You did good, faithful servant. And he then put a crown on his head. Right? So bring that out.
Matthew 20, verse 25.
Right?
But Yahushua called them unto him and said,
Right?
Ye know that the princes of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them.
Right?
And they that are great exercise authority upon them.
Right. So the Gentiles, when they're in great authority, they exercise that lordship, man. Right? They lord over them. They let it be known, I'm bigger and mightier than you. Nebuchadnezzar, they portray him as a god. You had to bow to Nebuchadnezzar. Right? If somebody's saying, look, worship me, bow to me, that man is wicked. That's not a man you should follow, man. Right, Rick?
But it shall not be Salakia. But it shall not be so among you.
Right?
But whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister.
Right? He's your minister more so. Right? That man who has more knowledge and understanding, he's over brothers. Them brothers got to go to him with questions, man. Them brothers got to hit him up, and you got to counsel them brothers. Right? You more so a minister and a servant to them, more so when you are in a leadership position. Right? So brothers got to understand that as well. Brothers actually serve you. Right? So why would you buck up against somebody that's actually there to literally serve you and help guide you to the kingdom? Right? Brothers can hit you up any time of night. They going through it. You got to go through the precepts. You can't say, no, I'm getting into it with my rib right now. I can't deal with it. And you kind of hang up on them. You can't do that. I don't feel like, and kind of ignore their call. Hey, that's wicked, man.
Real quick.
I'm on Netflix.
It's been plenty of time. We just mortal men, man. We go through hell too, man. But we still got to deal with brothers. We got to sit in councils. We got to build brothers up, get them precepts. Right? But although we got a lot running through our mind, we catching hell with affliction, we still there to build brothers up, man. Right? So the leadership role and position, it's not a light thing, man. It's a heavy role. It's a heavy duty. It's a heavy burden, man.
It can be stressful.
Yeah.
Like you got to be on calls with brothers. Right? You know what I'm saying? You got to do your thing, man. Brother down and out, you got to be there counseling them for an hour, man. Right? Taking time away from your family and things like that. Right? That's what it means by we ministering unto you, right? Keep reading in that verse 27.
And whosoever will be chief among
It seems like
God.
And whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant.
right? And whosoever is chief among you, let him be your servant in this thing, man. Right, read.
Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life a ransom for many.
You see that? So Yahushua, he came to minister unto men, right? He didn't come on the earth to be ministered unto. They'd be getting fed grapes by Eve, man. No, man. He came to be a minister, man. I mean, to minister, man, to serve. He was out there healing from day to night, man. You don't think he was tired, man, stressed out? But he had to deal with it, man, right? And he's literally the king of the Jews. He's Yahushua. And here it is. He's healing people, raising people up from the dead. He had multitudes of people, man, waiting in line to get healed, right? Rushing them, man. Right, bring in the brothers, God.
Bring out Jeremiah 38 and 24. We're going to get an account of Ecclesiastes 8 and 2, which we'll get in a second. But first, we're going to bring out Jeremiah 8 and we can start at 24. Jeremiah 8 it's like it. 38 and 24. Jeremiah chapter 38, verse 24. We're going to get an account of a man hearkening to the king.
No, y'all praise.
Jeremiah 38. Oh, let me go to it. My bad.
38 and 24.
38 and 24.
Jeremiah 38, 24, and it reads us.
Then said Zedekiah unto Jeremiah, let no man know of these words, and thou shalt not die.
Right. We're not going to go over the entire chapter, but Zedekiah kind of told him some stuff. He said, don't let nobody know this conversation between me and thee, or else you're going to die. And he's actually looking out for him. But as you continue to read in verse 25, it says,
25. But if the princes hear that I have talked with thee, and they come unto thee and say unto thee, declare unto us now what thou hast said unto the king.
right, tell us what you said with the king. Tell us what y'all speaking about. Go ahead.
Hide it not from us, and we will not put thee to death. Also what the king said unto thee.
Right, because the king was, he had knowledge that, hey, these people are going to ask you these questions, but you got to kind of just denounce it, kind of put it off, or else they're going to kill you. This is Zedekiah looking out for Jeremiah. Go ahead.
Then thou shalt say unto them, I presented my supplication before the king, that he would not cause me to return to Jonathan's house to die there.
And that's not entirely, he being wise as a serpent. That's not exactly what Jeremiah kind of came to Zedekiah to kind of speak about. That's not really what happened. You can go ahead.
Then came all the princes unto Jeremiah and asked him, and he told them according to all these words that the king had commanded. So they left off speaking with him, for the matter was not perceived.
So the matter wasn't perceived. Did Jeremiah kind of agree to or lie to the king? Like, you can go to Ecclesiastes 8 and 2.
This is Ecclesiastes 8 and 2. I counsel thee to keep the king's commandment.
Hey, what did it say?
I counsel thee to keep the king's commandment.
Hey, you got to keep the king's commandment.
And that in regard of the oath of God.
Hey, you got to kind of keep the king's commandment for real. That's all I really wanted. That's just an example of Zedekiah hearkening to the king.
Khan. Shalakia.
Give me Matthew chapter 18, verse 3.
Matthew
chapter 18, verse 3.
Matthew 18:23.
Verse 3.
Verse 3.
Yep.
Salakia. And said, verily I say unto you,
Truly I say unto you, read on.
except ye be converted and become as little children,
So you got to become like a little child in this thing, right? Meaning be humble. Be born again, as it states in John the 3rd chapter. Read on.
ye shall not enter into the kingdom